What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. We're the Distorted Theorists, and we just came out of, I would assume, one of the first premieres of AQUAMAN and the Lost Kingdom. Now, that was...
You're going to go for it? You go ahead.
Well, actually, I can't even do that. Before we get into it, I want to do a big shout out. Thanks a lot to Cineplex here at Scotiabank Theatre in St. John's, Newfoundland, for allowing us,
supporting us.
Yes, so for allowing us to come here and to film this afterwards. Yeah, a big thanks to them for allowing us to do this.
And also, before we get into our review, spoiler free by the way, as always, if you want to support the channel, we definitely appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and definitely going to want some comments down below on what you thought of this movie. And with that, Peter, take it away, because I know you're going to start us off.
Okay, so I didn't hate it. I didn't love it.
You said it was better than Flash right off the start. Let's get that out in the air right now.
See that thing that's crawling across the floor?
Yep.
Yeah, that's better than Flash. Okay? Wow. That's better than the Flash.
I don't know if I agree with that, but this movie, I don't even think The Lost Kingdom was the right word for it, to be honest, if I'm going to talk about the sequel. I mean, it's in the trailer. It could have been like The Black Trident would have made more sense, since The Lost Kingdom got very little.
Yeah, and I can see what it is. The way that I look at the movie is this was very Spy Kids meets Pirates of the Caribbean.
That was a good reference. I don't know how we come up with this off the cuff, but that made perfect sense as soon as you said it.
There was a lot of silliness in the movie that did work while trying to tie in the supernatural with reality. And Jason Momoa is excellent.
Yeah, we love you, Jason.
Not your fault. AQUAMAN. He was
Newfoundland
born to be
strong. Let's go.
He was born to play Arthur Curry, aka AQUAMAN.
Yeah. You said that before the movie even started, so and it still holds true.
And what's his name? Patrick Wilson did a really good job, as he does. He does well as Orm in it. And
there was that other girl.
What's her name? She was in it for a little bit.
She was in it for a
Nicole Kidman did well in it.
Actually, speaking of she was actually in the movie more than I thought she would be after everying. She had to sprinkle. I think they had to keep her for some of it, obviously.
I think there was contractual obligations there. But from what I've heard, her role was severely reduced, or at least her scenes were reshot at some point.
And I mean, we all know, if you guys have seen the movie or going to see the movie, we all know this is the absolute swan song for the old, I guess, what do you want to say, Snyderverse,
the DCEU,
whatever you want to call it.
Snyderverse is what was in the Netflix.
Yeah, so I mean, it was just a movie that held no greater meaning. This was our last chance to see Jason Momoa, as you said, as Arthur Curry, which he did an amazing job. I mean, he was one of the things that probably kept this franchise alive more than it should have been. I don't know.
I don't agree with that. I feel that Ben Affleck did really well as Bruce Wayne. I think Henry Cavill was an excellent Superman. Ezra Miller certainly was a character within the universe. I think that what was existing as the DCEU wasn't working, but it wasn't terrible. No. But enough about that. This is the last thing that we know is actually canonized as the DCEU before the DCU with James Gunn starts. I've heard rumors that Ezra Miller and Jason Momoa are supposed to still be involved in the DCU.
I wouldn't be mad.
But we've got a new Superman, and who knows what's going to be happening with Batman. Who's to
Superman
say?
Legacy, I guess, will be probably
that's the first big one that's going to be.
But like I said, back to The Lost Kingdom. Like I said, do I think that it should have been titled that? Not really. I do believe that the story, it seemed like the story just took so long to actually find out why we were watching the story. That's the way I feel. Again, this is all opinionated.
I
don't know. I just didn't like. I was like, oh, we're halfway, 3/4 through the movie, and now we're kind of getting a plot. I don't know. That's the way I felt. But.
I didn't feel that there was much at stake. Yes, the movie does portray what's at stake in terms of the environment.
They try really hard to make us think the world is in danger, basically.
And there is a certain plot device that is used that would be used to invoke emotion for sure, but it's been used before. It's nothing that is out of this world, but again, it's not not enough for me to care.
It's kind of like, actually, you kind of said something there that sparked something I was thinking when I was thinking about our review, is that I felt like this movie was just hitting trope after trope after trope after trope. Like there was nothing that really made me like, oh, that's original. Like I was like watching, I'd be like, oh, I seen that in the '90s movie. Oh, I seen that in like 2000s. Like
we've got the crime lord that has information. We've got the enemy that becomes a partner. We have a long lost island that no one has ever seen or heard of before that is explained really weird.
And we have family.
Yeah, family.
Dominic Toretto,
family.
right? I don't know. And you know what I also was thinking when I was coming to the movie, getting ready to do all this? I felt like, now that I've seen the whole movie and everything, I feel like I almost probably enjoyed the first half of the movie more than I enjoyed the second half, which is really not what a movie, in my opinion, should make you feel. I don't know.
And the surprising part is there was a lot more in a movie that needs to be as visual effects CGI heavy as Aquaman, because they've got to animate water and hair and all that stuff in the water. There was a surprising amount of legitimate practical sets. There's a large set piece that's right in the middle of the movie, right before we get the exposition as to why we're going to the Secret Kingdom. And it's a character is running through something that's exploding, and if it is visual effects, it's done really well. Obviously the explosions are, but the actual what he's running through, I'm like, I think they actually built that, and that is impressive.
Do you find that the movie was, I'm going to say almost or was a lot busy?
Oh yeah, there's a lot going on.
Yeah, I felt like, you know, I don't want to be. I don't want to compare it to Avatar, but like in a sense, water. Let's just use, you know, the visual effects, like you said. But I felt like it was just like zip, zap, zoo, as you say. Sometimes it's just like a seahorse is going one way, then there's exploding, then there's rocks falling, and you're like, where are the characters I'm supposed to be watching and paying attention to?
And even one of the final confrontations is, again, you would expect to see close-ups of everyone fighting, but you don't see it. It's an actual CGI fight. Because with the camera angles, there's no physical way that this could have actually been done like with people. And it's kind of like, oh.
Also, I mean, I feel like, let's switch gears to the threat again. Not the world threat, but the immediate threat, people. I didn't enjoy that they're rehashing pretty much all the same bad people from this one. There was like no new threat, if that makes sense. Well, I know you have that overlying thing, which we won't, but I mean, they didn't even get off the ground, really. We didn't even get in my opinion, again. So I was like...
And maybe this is something that for the uninitiated of Aquaman, maybe our Aquaman and DC big major fans out there could say,
we admit we didn't read every Aquaman comic there ever was.
I've read none.
Yeah.
So maybe those out there will be like, oh my God, are you kidding? This is actually a huge part of it. I was actually reminded me.
No sweat, let us know in the comments.
I was actually reminded more of what I'm familiar with The Blackest Night. I know that's Green Lantern, but again, this is kind of like, oh, that kind of makes sense. That's kind of where this may have come from, especially with the color green.
You know, as much as we love coming out to these DC movies, and we haven't missed a one, I feel like after watching this movie, even though, like you said, we didn't hate it, I'm ready for the new refresh. I'm ready to step behind the next curtain now and see what, obviously, James Gunn can bring to the table and do with characters that we already know.
And new characters that we've never seen.
Exactly that. And maybe that's what it is. Maybe there's a bit of fatigue of seeing the same ones over and over and over and over again now. I mean, this is what, the third, fourth, fifth time we've seen actual Aquaman on screen, whether it be cameos or whatever.
Yeah, about the fifth.
Yeah. So, you know, it's time to turn that page. Let's see what else is coming out, what James Gunn has. And I mean, his creative direction, as we know, with Guardians of the Galaxy is just going to be on point anyway. I can't see
Suicide
it being,
Squad.
True. So I mean, we got a taste. So now we just got to see what he's going to mold it into. But as we always like to do at the end of our video, Peter, what kind of rating are you giving it and why?
6.5.
6.5? I was going to say, you know what?
And you know what? I don't even remember what number I gave for The Flash. I still enjoyed this more than The Flash. Let me put it that way. So maybe I was biased.
I think I'm going to go 5.56, somewhere in there, because is this a movie that I'm going to talk about a week from now? Probably not. But did I enjoy that we came out and seen it and got to do this video for you guys?
It's a fun movie, much like our previous, go back and watch all our other ones, especially the one about the Marvels, because that was a fun one. However, I did enjoy the Marvels much more than I enjoyed this one.
And as we always say in a lot of our videos, guys, don't let this sway you not to go, like, go see this movie. This is a superhero movie. If you're a fan of that kind of thing, Marvel, DC, whatever, this has to be watched in a theater setting because that's how you enjoy it, in my opinion, the best. But just be prepared that you aren't going to come out with your jaw on the floor. You know what I'm saying?
And again, Jason, if you're watching this,
Jason,
you know,
Give us a call when you're in Newfoundland. I will buy you drinks.
No hate. You were you in this movie.
Yeah, yeah.
And you did great.
Yeah, no, there's definitely no complaints. I mean, the character could not have been chosen better. So just to see him maybe one last time was a great hurrah.
I think it's just the sum of its parts, unfortunately, did not make it as big and as good as it could have been.
Yeah. Maybe a little more marketing would have helped as well. Maybe.
The strike didn't help.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of factors here. But ladies and gentlemen, as always, thank you so much for joining us for our review right at the theater for Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. As always, if you want to support the channel, and we do appreciate it, if you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and leave us a comment down below. You good? And with that, I am the real Jussy.
I am Peter Parkour, and like we always like to say around here, keep it real.